start with Python. So what we need to do is start by installing Python. If you guys see on Discord, we have this link on the channel called resources. There is this GitHub channel of Asebenech, my friend. He's made this 30 days of Python. And in the first one, there is a tutorial about how to install all the tools that are necessary. So the first one would be going to python.org webpage and downloading the release for your computers. But that also depends. Is any one of you using something else than a Windows machine? Because if one would be using a Linux machine or would be using a Macintosh, then installing is a bit simpler on those machines. You just type a piece of line depending on the package manager they have and you get it installed. But in Windows, well, we don't have it built in. So we have to go to the downloads page and download the newest package. And it also depends. If one of you got some older computer, it's no issue. But the newest library wouldn't work for Windows 7 machines. If you have a Windows 7, then you'd have to probably go back a bit and install some older library for that. But yeah, if you're Satu, I see you're using a Macintosh, then getting the Python on Mac is quite easy. Mac install Python. And even on this Python website, you get some easy instructions. But as far as I remember, if you have brew installed on it, it's just as easy as typing in your terminal brew install Python. But if you don't have it, well, there's some instructions that you can see over here for getting it done. I think you need to have a higher privilege in the console. You need to be an administrator to be able to do that. Okay, go ahead, Trump. Do rejoin. So anyway, for everybody else that is just using Windows machine, go to the Python.org website and click this yellow button down on Python 3.11.2. That seems to be the most current stable version of it. And you can choose 32, 64-bit installer, but I guess for most machines, 64 is good enough. Okay, if anyone got some issues, please do let me know. But also, there are some cases that someone forgot his administrator password, or someone is not an administrator of the computer they are using, so they might be having problems installing some tools. But for us, it's not a big issue. You just need to solve it for the next lectures. You need to, well, ask whoever is the administrator to install this Python and VS Code. And in that case, for now, what one can use is just an online compiler for Python. You can compile Python in a web browser, just Python compiler online, and you get some websites. I guess depending which country you're at, it's gonna recommend you some different websites. The first one it recommends me is this programmist.com Python programming online compiler. Yeah, just in case you guys have some issues that you know you cannot solve at the moment, it's also possible to use that for compiling the code. But anyway, back to installing Python. There is a quite important part in it. Let me check it. I mean, it's not necessary, but it's very comfortable to have it. When it's asking you all those different stuff, if you can see the screen properly, there is this add Python to Puff. Each machine has got this system and environment. What is it called? It's basically this register where it's pointing to global applications, meaning when you have a console and you're able to type any command in it, for example, Python. I could type Python because I have it globally, like a link to it globally attached. So I don't have to go to the proper folder where the application actually is, because it's in this system register for that. So that's why we want to add Python to Puff when installing it. It might also ask if we want to add some exception for very long names, like Windows tells you having, was it 255 characters of a length of any particular length of a path to a folder, to a file, like you can see over here. Actually, my resolution is quite big. Do you guys find a problem with it? I can actually, maybe I should change so actually everything is a bit bigger. Give me a moment. Yeah, this way it's a bit better. So this is like the path of a folder, and over here we have this Hello Pi, for example, file. So basically this is the whole path of it, and Windows got this problem that after 255 characters, it's having issues with it. So that's why many people do install this exception, but I didn't see it in my Python installer. So I guess maybe it's just it installs it automatically now. I don't know. So after you guys have installed Python, what about you, Satu? Did you manage to get Python for Macintosh?
No, not yet.
Okay, just let me know if you have some issues. I'll find something.
Okay, thanks.
So the next tool we want to install is VS Code. If you just type VS Code on Google, you're gonna get this, and you just click on the download, and you'll be able to get the proper repository. For Macintosh, it also got links for installing, so it will be a lot easier for you, Satu. I think on the Python website, there is also installer for Macintosh. It's quite confusing. So after you guys download it, I mean, you can use this x64 installer. It's good for most machines, except older machines that don't have a 64-bit system. So just go ahead, use the system installer. It should be good enough. Download it. It should start downloading automatically somewhere. But if you have issues with your downloads, I see mine is being downloaded with no problems. But they also provide a direct link if someone's this JavaScript applet didn't make download it, or whatever app they are using. So anyway, after getting Python, it's time to install VS Code, and you just go ahead with your preferences, and the installation is quite straight out. You just click it one by one, and it's also good to add it to Puff because it makes it easier to open some files. For example, if I have, I can open VS Code with just a few commands. Actually, what I'm doing here, I'm using the command line because it's quite, well, it's a bit backwards, meaning with technology and everything, we have nice icons and everything, but some and many operations are a lot faster when performed in a console. For Macintosh, you don't use this directory or dir. You just type ls, but it obviously doesn't. Oh, actually, it works on my Windows. I must have installed something and I already forgot. So if I go to, let's say, this Piglet, I can just type code that, and it automatically opens that folder for me in VS Code, which is quite useful. So that's why it's nice to add VS Code to Path. I'll just go ahead with the installation. So, well, I have it already installed, obviously, but why not? Okay, if you guys have any issues so far, please do let me know. Satu, did you manage to install Python? There is a way in this Zoom that you can, you as a participant can share your screen. And when you share your screen, you can let me take over so that I can check it and try to fix it. So Satu, if you want, I can look at your monitor and help you out.
As I managed to download Python, but I just haven't used Mac a lot, so that's why.
Okay.
It's a new computer.
Yeah.
But and at the same time with the Zoom, that's why I'm having a bit.
Yeah, it's also, the Zoom is new for me, so.
Yeah, I wasn't able to find how to open up the Zoom properly just
Okay.
now.
Okay,
But
do you want me to
Python now? But and the visual code is loading.
Okay, nice. And the Python.
Are we supposed to open it after? Or?
Yeah, go ahead and open it. So if everyone is able to get to the VS Code screen, then please to let me know. Or maybe the other way around, if you have still some issues with it. Okay, nice. I see. Frank got it.
I got it as well.
Okay, very good. Oh, okay, anyway, Satu, for now, if you could check with us the VS Code, I'll show you some basic things in it, so we can get to know VS Code a bit. It's quite useful. There's obviously other editors, like there's Vim, there is Atom, there's some other ones, but out of them all, well, obviously Vim is the most lightweight, but it requires a lot of time to learn it. Supposedly the best editor for people that know all the shortcuts, but for me, I think VS Code requires a lot less learning, and it's very straight out. It's quite simple. So when we open VS Code, we see a screen like this. We see Visual Studio Code, and on the left, we have automatically selected Explorer and we can open a folder. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna choose a folder. I think I made one yesterday. Or maybe not. Anyway, I can make a new folder with the browser, and I can call it the Omnia course. And I'll just open this folder for now. And now I can see this whole folder got open. Obviously, there's nothing there, but I'm gonna press this icon. This you can see this folder with a plus and right bottom corner. If you hold your mouse long enough, it just says it's a new folder. So you just create a new folder with it. So I'm gonna name it week 1. And now I'm gonna click the other file. I clicked it after selecting the week 1. So whatever new file I'm gonna create, it's gonna be made inside this week 1 folder. So let's just call it hello.py. Py because we are going to use I mean, these are the files for Python scripts, for Python programs. They just have this type of ending. So it's like a registered name for Python files. Before we can continue with this one, there's a other important tool on this left taskbar. So besides the Explorer, we need to go for the extensions. In the extensions, we are able to install the extensions for this VS Code, depending on what we are going to use, like which programming language. It's good to install some tools for dealing with that language. In our case, all we need is type in the extension manager Python. Well, I did install it before. It just pops on the first screen. This Python allows us to compile inside the window the Python code. So this way, we don't have to do it the old-fashioned way. Like the old-fashioned way, we would be going to console, typing the program name that we usually compile with, adding some options for, I don't know, compile, typing the file, and then typing the output file. So that's the old way of compiling. At least that's how I was taught on the university where we were learning this C programming. It was, well, it wasn't that much fun comparing with comparing C++ with Python. Python is a lot more fun. It's a lot easier, and you can basically do the same things. So anyway, after you install this tool, what will change is that once you go back to the Explorer, to the file, once you make it, you have this little plus button. So whatever you run in it, it will actually do it, meaning it will compile it as it goes. So I'm just gonna write this lazy code, hi. And as you can see, a terminal popped, and what the program did is it wrote the direct path to Python exe, and then inserted the full path of this file that we made, and this way it got launched. So basically this add-on is not doing anything crazy. It's just using the Python that we installed before installing VS Code to compile the files we have in our work directory. So obviously the result is just a simple hi, but that's the first step, right?
Pavel.
Yes?
Sorry to disturb you. Could you start not from the beginning, but there was a question how to create the week one. So
Okay, sorry, I didn't notice. So if you're back to the Explorer, there was this button, open folder, right? And you just open any folder you want to use. So if I open a new VS Code, and it just shows welcome, and that's the basic version. The first time you launch VS Code, you're just gonna see it this way. So you open folder, meaning which folder is going to be your work folder. Like you can pick any folder. For example, if I create a new one, let's call it test, and inside the test folder, I'm going to create folder number 1. So if I open the test folder, I'm going to see that there's a folder named 1. But if I open the 1 folder as my working directory, I won't see whatever is above it. So I won't see the test. So to create anything inside this folder named 1, I just need to press this button, the new folder plus, and I just need to name it any way I want, like Thursday. And now when I go back, where did I create it? Here, Python. That's the one I created. Well, the thing is, if I go to terminal, open the terminal, and I can just type pwd for seeing the path where I actually am. But the thing is, it already printed it here. But for example, if you use Macintosh, this pwd is quite useful. So you can actually see where you actually are. I'm not. The thing is, I in my console I installed some add-on so that I can use some of the Ubuntu command lines, but it should work for Windows. This pwd, it's good only for console, I guess, but we're gonna use a bit of it, I'm afraid. So it's over here. I can copy this path. I can go here. And I can see that it's in the user, and there is a test folder inside 1. And the first day I just made in this VS Code, I can click here and make a file, test py, and I can see it popped over here. Yeah, so going back to the folder we made, I named it in Python Omnia course. So here is the week 1 folder. Inside is the hello py. Yeah, so this VS Code needs some getting used to, because when you create a new folder, it's gonna create it at first, it seems, in a random spot. But if you want to make it above week 1, you just need to probably close it. Well, it still doesn't work. If I click on the course, for some reason, it's a bit problematic getting the folder where you want it to be. But you can always move it. Yeah, so I moved it below the code, and I managed to get it out of the week 1 folder. It's a bit problematic, so sometimes you can try doing it over here, creating whatever folders you want to. They are all created automatically. So I'll just delete this. All folders I'm not going to use. Anyway, how are you guys? Is everything okay? Are you on point with using VS Code? Everyone got this week 1 and a little file in it? I hope you do. How about you, Satu? Did you manage to install Python by now?
Yes, I managed, thanks.
Okay, great. That's good.